The morning sun hung high, casting a golden glow over the dense underbrush as Evelyn ambled along the old hawthorn trail. The faint creaking of her hiking boots on the earth blurred into the soft rustling of leaves, creating a symphony of nature that enveloped her. As a seasoned hiker, she was well versed in the path's twists and turns, every rock and root familiar to her. But today, an unfamiliar path caught her eye, a narrow, winding trail barely visible through the thicket. Curiosity ignited within her, and she ventured off course. The air shifted, the warmth of the sun seemed distant, replaced by a coolness that crept up her spine. She brushed past the ferns, their fronds damp with an unseen moisture. Then, in the distance, something peculiar drew her in. A wrought iron gate looming ahead, twisted and ancient, seemingly untouched by time. As she approached, she could see that the gate bore an intricate design, featuring swirling patterns that looked almost like fingers grappling for escape. Evelyn hesitated, a sliver of unease threading through her mind. This gate was nowhere on her map, nor had she ever heard tales of a cemetery in these woods. She pushed the gate open, the rusted hinges groaning in protest, and a cold gust of wind rushed out, chilling her to the bone. Crossing the threshold, she stepped into a clearing, revealing rows of weathered gravestones, their surfaces draped in creeping moss. The curious sense of dislocation deepened. The gravestones appeared to be not just old, but forgotten, as if time had conspired to seal them away. The air smelled of damp earth and decay, a heavy weight mingling with the scent of pine. Each stone wore names that lingered in a hushed whisper, their stories silenced by years of neglect. Evelyn's heartbeat quickened as she noticed a few graves adorned with curious trinkets, small, colorful beads and twisted bits of thread, remnants of offerings carried by strangers from long ago. Her fingers brushed against a particularly coarse necklace, and an electric jolt shot through her hand, followed by a sensation like breath on her neck, brushing against her skin. She spun around, but the clearing remained empty, save for her own shadow, lurking in the absence of a sun that seemed to veil itself. A fleeting sound caught her attention, a soft, rhythmic tapping echoing across the graveyard. It came from an obscured section, hidden by brambles and old oaks. Against her better judgment, she moved toward it, each step bringing a sense of foreboding, the shadows lengthening around her. The tapping intensified, a whisper of something yearning to be freed. When she reached the source, her breath caught. A gravestone stood tall, where the ground was recently disturbed, fresh earth, blackened and cracked. A relentless tapping erupted, as if something beneath the surface sought to escape. Glistening traces of light began to seep through the cracks, illuminating the area in an eerie glow as her heart pounded uncontrollably. Suddenly, the earth shuddered, an eruption of dirt flinging itself into the air. Out of the grave, a figure clawed its way up, a pale hand, skeletal and frail, grasping for the air. Evelyn stumbled back, terror paralyzing her as she faced the hollowed eyes of a long-departed soul staring directly at her. In that one terrifying moment, their gazes locked, and she felt a soul's desperation flooding her mind, echoing her own deepest fears: entrapment, loss, the confounding shroud of time. With an instinctual jolt, she turned and fled, racing back down the path that had drawn her into this nightmare. The once familiar forest seemed alive, branches clawing at her clothes, roots snaring at her ankles as she fought against the unseen grasp of the cemetery. Finally, she burst through the underbrush onto the main trail, collapsing onto the familiar ground, her breaths ragged and wild. The sun warmed her skin again, a stark contrast to the chill that still lingered within. As she glanced back, the dense trees concealed the gate, erasing the cemetery from her view, leaving no trace behind. But as she stood there, shaking off the remnants of dread, she noticed a single thread tied around her wrist, a crafted necklace seemingly pulled from the earth, a connection she would never understand. Evelyn learned that some paths are meant to remain hidden, and some stories, once unearthed, can never truly be laid to rest. She continued her hike, but her heart carried the weight of whispers from beyond.